it's Romano here from Crypto Nation. Thank you for tuning in to another one of my videos. I do apologize because I've not made a video for a while, probably almost a week now, so sorry about being a bit thin on videos over the weekend, Friday and Monday. It's just how it is, kind of life happens in between, so I do apologize. I didn't actually get time on Friday or Monday to actually sit down and make a couple of videos, but I'm here today, so I'm going to try and cover a sort of few bases, maybe the sort of what's happened between last Wednesday when I did this video and where we are today. Just starting off with a quick look at the sort of markets and where we are at the moment. So I think the last time I had a chat with you guys was I think sort of middle of last week, where the weekend before we had the news coming out of China about the ban on ICO. So I think that happened the sort of Sunday evening or the Monday morning of the week before, and I remember the Friday night about 2 weeks ago I made a video and the market cap was at $176 billion at that time. So you guys can see that we're currently sitting at $143 billion, which is quite a bit down from where we were just literally 2 weeks ago. BTC dominant still 47.4%. But there's a couple of reasons why the markets have stayed down over that period. So if you guys can remember, we had the big story where China banned ICOs from listing in China, and effectively a whole bunch of sites that were running ICOs had a very limited period of time to delist the ICOs, return the money to the people who invested there, and so forth. So that kind of went on for a while. There was a bloodbath in the markets. Everything fell. Bitcoin fell. Ethereum particularly fell because of the amount of ICOs hosted on the Ethereum blockchain. So there was a kind of a sea of red all the way down this page. And then Bitcoin started, the cryptocurrencies, as they do, started recovering a bit. I think the news about China and the concerns about China and what they might do about ICOs was sort of there for a while. So everyone expected something, just not quite the ban, but I think everyone did expect something from China. So ultimately the cryptocurrencies over the course of the last week did rise again. And then last Friday, so the Friday just gone, some news reports came out of China about China going to shut down Bitcoin or cryptocurrency exchanges in China. So this came out of one news source on Friday. There was a bit of a panic again. All the cryptos were down again on Friday, and pretty much stayed down over the weekend because this report was unconfirmed. So on Friday, a lot of people said, "Hey, we're in China. We can still get access to the sort of crypto exchanges here." There were talks about, I only read the news on Friday on Bloomberg and a whole host of other sites. But anyway, there was talk over the weekend about it being a sort of pump and dump scam, in the sense that someone, a agency, reported fake news into the market about China effectively shutting down exchanges, created a bunch of panic selling. The price of Bitcoin dropped again by a few $100s on Friday, which effectively, for anyone wanting to buy Bitcoin, that's a massive discount. So there were stories about that emerging over the weekend, and the coin sort of stayed flattish, but started making a few gains again over last night and today. And then today, as you guys can see, everything's pretty much flat, or a little bit of red down here, but it's pretty much flat. There's been a bit of a dip again. But what's come out of China again today, if I can just show you guys this article, and I've seen this on a couple of websites around the internet today, from yesterday, was that China is going to shut down Bitcoin exchanges. So there's one line I can highlight here which says the sources said that regulators weren't giving a clear message on when the shutdown will occur. So again, there's not a lot of confirmed information about what's going on here. I think there's a lot of stuff coming from the Wall Street Journal. There's a couple of sort of reports all the way around, but again, nothing that is hard and fast, any solid news that's coming out of China at this point in time about exactly what China is going to do with the Bitcoin exchanges, and hence this very flat market. I mean, no one really wants to move a lot. I'm saying that, but over $1 billion traded today just in Bitcoin. But I think it's a case of the price is staying pretty flat at the moment because there's just a lot of uncertainty in the market about what especially China's doing in terms of ICOs and crypto exchanges, but just in terms of what regulators are doing globally with regards to cryptocurrency and specifically ICOs. I found this nice list today on a website called ofnumbers.com, and basically it's got a small list up here of which regulators have publicly commented on initial coin offerings, and what is sort of going on in this space. This was published on September 7th. I know that in the UK today, our version of the SEC, which is the Financial Conduct Authority, have basically released, I haven't read the whole statement today, but they're basically looking at ICOs as well, and how they classify ICOs and what sort of regulatory framework they put around how ICOs are run, and how ICOs are published, and how people can buy them and all sorts of stuff like that. So effectively, what I believe to get to a kind of a more regulated market. So that obviously is what's going on today. We can see that Brazil, the United States has gone in there. Canada, we definitely know. But then there's also places like Israel, South Korea, Russia. As I said, obviously today, the Financial Conduct Authority. So there's quite a lot going on in that space. And I think, if we look at this list in about a month's time, it's probably going to be a lot longer, because I think there's regulatory bodies all across the world currently looking at what people are going to do, or what they're going to do with ICOs and how they classify them. Now, I think that's quite an interesting sort of concept, and I know there's a lot of people sort of crying foul about what regulatory bodies are doing in terms of looking at ICOs and trying to regulate it. I know it sort of detracts from the whole idea of Bitcoin and blockchain and sort of digital currency not being regulated by a sort of central authority. But I think we've got to take the two apart, instead of looking at ICOs in sort of almost isolation, and looking at kind of cryptocurrency as a sort of separate thing. And I think the reason for this is that to kind of not dumb it down a bit, but to try and draw some sort of a comparison. If you look at IPOs, so that's initial public offerings, when companies list themselves on the stock exchange, they release a whole bunch of shares at a certain price based upon a valuation that was given for the company, and then those shares get traded on the stock exchange, but a lot of that get offered initially through an IPO, and that IPO is usually offered to how can I put it, certain types of investors who've either been kind of pre-approved or corporations or whatever it might be. So the entry threshold is usually a lot higher and a lot more selective for IPOs, but and that's what makes ICO so democratizing, is the fact that anyone can get involved in buying an ICO. But at the same time, you've got to look at when a company does apply for a public offering. So when it becomes a public company, there are a lot of laws. So whether you're in a specific state or a specific country or wherever you are, there are specific laws that vests responsibility for the oversight of the company or the corporation that's listing. I mean, these oversights are basically things like, in essence, a corporation has a board of directors that is elected by the shareholders, who is charged with overseeing the management of the company. And there's been sort of two models really, but the basic model is that you've essentially got a board-centric governance model where the board's responsible for doing and taking most of the decisions, and you've got a sort of more shareholder-centric model where shareholders get to vote on some certain issues and they have more power and say about what goes on within the company. There's also public companies are subject to a whole bunch of regulatory compliances that they need to, or regulatory things that they need to comply with. So these are things like they're subject to public disclosures. They've got to publish accounts, all of their accounts. Independent third parties go in and audit them. They have the shareholders are there's a level of protection for shareholders. There is charters and bylaws for trading on the stock exchange, and all sorts of rules governing fiduciary duties and all sorts of stuff like that. And all these things were basically set in place to protect investors. So this is sort of stuff I obviously don't have to tell you guys if you do know what an IPO is. But the problem is that none of these things actually exist for ICOs. So if you can think about the fact that a shareholder in a company has voting rights according to shares, so you can vote on certain things, or even vote board members in or out. So that is the some of the power that you hold if you are a shareholder in a company. Whereas the sort of differences in governance, or the shortcomings in governance when it comes to ICOs, is that there's no system of checks and balances in place through a sort of elected board that do oversight of the company. If you're a token holder, in the same way that I just mentioned about shareholders being able to hold voting rights, if you're a token holder, you have no voting rights. Yes, you hold a token, you can sell it and buy it and whatever, but you don't have any voting rights for it. There's unfair token allocation practices that arguably take place. There's a lack of transparency in terms of respect of large ownership concessions and who owns what in the company, and there's no sort of binding contractual commitments to use on these sort of platforms. So I mean, you can go into various different and multiple different reasons why, if you sort of compare the two, and I know you're not really comparing apples with apples when you are comparing ICOs to IPOs, but it should give some of the background about why regulatory authorities are taking such a close interest in ICOs. It's just because that, as I've said it 100 times before, we are still in the Wild West at the moment, especially with ICOs. And I can basically just publish a bullshit white paper, put it out there, and we are in a climate at the moment where people will just throw money at it, and I could be the biggest thief in the world and make off with millions of dollars worth of investor money, and there's no regulation to protect either the investors or anyone else. So I always equate where we are to where the stock market was probably pre-1929. Think about the lack of governance and regulation that was in place then, and why they put a lot of that in place. If you think about what happened between 1929 and in the 30s, the Great Depression, the stock market crashes and all that stuff, there's a good reason why they put a lot of that sort of stuff in. So I do think that some sort of regulatory framework for ICOs is a good thing. I think a loosely governed one, in the sense that it doesn't restrict people from launching ICOs. it doesn't makes ICOs selective to only a few groups of people. But I do think that a system of checks and balances that is put in place to protect either sides of the equation, both the company producing or releasing the ICO and the person on the street who is able to buy into an ICO or buy tokens into an ICO. So I think some sort of regulatory framework around that is definitely needed, and I think probably will happen in, I wouldn't say in the near future, but definitely in the foreseeable future. How it gets done, because cryptocurrency is such a global thing, we'll see how that is thrashed out. But anyway, that's just kind of my 2 cents on the whole piece, which I know it was a bit of a long-winded monologue, but regulatory stuff really isn't interesting stuff to talk about, and it does usually take a bit of a while. Anyway, where are we today on the market? So as I said, everything's pretty flat at the moment because of the what's going on in the whole regulatory market, what I've just talked about earlier. There are a couple of interesting ones here. IOTA is up, but just really on the day. I think it's still pretty much flat at the moment. The market in general is kind of flat, but the one that really is still pumping strong is ARK. If we look at what ARK's doing at the moment, I mean, ARK is on a continuous rise at the moment. So it's gone up massively in the last, just in the sort of last 2 months, and it continues to climb even in climates like today. Now this could just be a sort of temporary thing, but ARK has been doing amazingly good over the course of the last 2 months, irrespective of what news has come out of China or whether Bitcoin goes up or down, or it doesn't matter. ARK has really just been on the up and the up and the up. So that's really sort of doing well at the moment. A couple of other currencies doing well at the moment as well. I mean, there are a few, but it's, as I said, across the board for this week is especially flat at the moment. Edgeless, I saw this one today, didn't really know much about Edgeless, but I'm definitely going to be doing some research into what Edgeless is doing. Just having a look at where the chart is still in an upward trend. It's still in a positive trend. So I do think if you're in the sort of buying selling space, if you're a day trader, definitely Edgeless could be something that might be of interest given the fact of how much it's sort of changed in the last couple of days. Then looking at this triggers, I saw this the other day, and I thought, okay, well, it's maybe just a bit of a bubble, the sort of first bit here, but it's actually still been climbing quite a bit. I'm just going to switch to the sort of 7-day chart here, but we can see that on the sort of 7-day chart, it's still going up. There's been a sort of slight dip just in the last couple of hours over here, but overall I'd say triggers is looking pretty good, 55% up on the day. So this is a pretty interesting cryptocurrency to look at the moment. As I said, again, for day traders in the arbitrage. I have not really had much of a look at this currency and what it's doing at the moment, what the whole story is behind it. There seems to be some sort of countdown on their website. Looks like they will be, just from the look of it, switching to another currency. So hence the interest in that. Probably some old coins will be burnt. There'll probably be a halving of coin or something like that. It's usually what happens in this sort of cases. So another one to sort of look at there. As you guys know, I've been staking EmberCoin for quite a while. I'm still staking. EmberCoin's up today about 10.56% to 8 satoshis. Currently, I'm sort of staking about 3 million Ember a day in that sort of region, which is about $1,000 a day at this price, which isn't bad. I mean, I have definitely taken out my ROI out of it. And I continue. I mean, I'm going long term on Ember. the dev is really excited about this project that he's been working on. There's a new wallet out. Where are we today? The 12th. There's a new wallet out for EmberCoin on the 15th of September, if everything's still going according to plan. And then in October we'll start the phase, or actually from the 15th we'll start the phase of switching everyone over to the new EmberCoin wallet. And you've got about 6 weeks to do that from the 15th, or when the wallet gets launched on the 15th, right through to the 30th of October. You do have time to then move all of your cash in from the old wallet into the new wallet. If you haven't done so by the 30th of October, your coins in the old wallet will get burnt on the 1st of November. Because on the 1st of November there is a big code change that's coming in. There'll be a gradual reduction of the interest, the stake rate at the moment. This is to effectively fix the bugs that the developers found in the project when he took over the project, and it's just to take that staking rate down to a more sustainable level, so that the coin doesn't suffer from hyperinflation, and supports a higher value coin. Anyway, so that's sort of all happening. Starts 1st of November, and then there's masternodes and all sorts of stuff going on the roadmap. So there is a DC longevity in this project, and I'm definitely in it for the longer term at this point in time. So we'll see. I mean, I do extract some Ember every now and then, so I probably pull out about 3 million or so Ember a week, 3 to 5 million Ember a week, and I leave the other Ember that I'm in there to sort of stake, just to compound up and up and up and up. So it's still doing good for me. As I said, I subtract some money every week just to put in other cryptos that are going at the moment. One of the other ones I'm looking at the moment is ColossusCoin V2 or CV2, which is currently at 4 BTC or 4 Satoshis. And just having a look down, I'm just going to draw the chart down to the 7-day chart. You guys can see that there is some activity here. It sort of bobs up and down between 3 and 4. I think there's sort of a resistance at 3. I don't really think it's going to go much lower at 3 or anything like that. And I've got about 8.5 million Colossus coin at the moment. I'll probably be buying another in the next day or two, another 5-6 million sort of CV2 coin if I can get my hands on them, and just sort of stockpiling them. Because what is happening with CV2 coin or Colossus coin 2, they are actually moving the coin to a new source code. So they are moving to PIVX source code POS 3.0. And this starts on the 15th, so a new wallet gets launched on the 15th as well, coincidentally. And then between the 15th and of September and the 31st of December will be the window in which you can exchange or swap your old CV2 coins for the new ColossusCoin XD. So the short for that is ColEx. So you'll be able to swap that on Nova Exchange, and there will be a halving of the coin of 2 to 1. So if you've got 2 CV2 coins, they will be halved for 1 ColEx or ColossusCoin XT coin. But as I said, there's some really interesting stuff going on with this project. ColossusCoin, I think I spoke about it before in a previous video, was also a dead coin, but it was since resurrected, and I bloody hate this search, but basically it was resurrected and the source code was picked up by a new developer or developers. They've been hard at work, busy moving the coin over from its old source code to the PIVX source code, and as I said, been releasing new wallets and all sorts of stuff. There was a recent competition to design a new logo. I really like the new logo that's come out. It's It's a really good looking logo. I think it's going to go well. There's a new website design that's going to come in. There's all sorts of activity for ColossusCoin on the roadmap. So there's the roadmap. You guys can see that we are sort of here mid-September. But there's quite a lot on the roadmap for the rest of this year and into early December of next year. So they're going to be there's going to be masternodes and everything. So I'm really interested in what's happening in the ColossusCoin arena. They've got a really good and vibrant community. There's a lot going on. They've got a Slack channel. They've got a Telegram channel. I think the Slack channel is relatively new, but the Telegram's quite busy. There's always people on there chatting. So it looks like a really interesting project, and I think that the price of the new coin is definitely going to go up when it gets launched. So I'm definitely getting into this coin at the moment, buying. As I said, I've got about 8.5 million in there. I'm probably going to throw about another 5 to 6 million Ember in there. At the moment it's kind of hard to find because, well, I wouldn't say hard to find, but people are sort of hanging on to the coin, so not a lot of it is on exchanges, and when you do get them at a good price for Satoshis, I definitely say buy them. I'm definitely going to try and buy some more of that. So yeah, and that is pretty much my roundup of the market at the moment. As I said, it's still pretty flat given the uncertainty about what's going on in China and the Bitcoin exchanges there being told to shut down. But we'll see how that story unfolds over the week. We'll try and do another video towards the end of the week, or if there's an update on that. And then where we are on Bitpetite. So Bitpetite, as you guys know, I've been trying out this investment platform. If you want to know what Bitpetite is, have a look at some of my previous videos where I actually discuss the whole what Bitpetite is and how it works. But basically, I put 3 Litecoin on the 30th of August into Bitpetite, and ever since then I've been earning a dividend of around 4.5% a day. Well, that's the interest rate, and my dividends get paid out every hour in Litecoin. So my next payout is going to be 0.0562 Litecoin, or 562,500 Satoshis. But I mean, this platform for me is doing really well. As I said, my total investment at the time was $188, just because it was new to me and I didn't want to throw a whole bunch of money into it whilst I tried out the platform and sort of see how it worked and see if see if I can get some money out. But you guys can see that I can basically withdraw 1.3 Litecoin at the moment. We'll see how that sort of goes. I think what I will do is I'm going to wait for this all to finish up. I'm going to withdraw whatever there is going to be withdrawn. So according to this, my total return will be 4.41 Litecoin. I'll pull out the 1.4 Litecoin and then reinvest the rest for another 6-week period and just withdraw the dividends or the returns that come out of that. I might even go for a 9-week period, although the interest rate is lower, so I still think that 6 weeks probably pays me better in terms of investing here. So yeah, Bitpetite at this point in time doing really, really well. Can't complain about it. I've been, it's the 12th of September, and my total earned back is already about $195. So yeah, it's looking pretty good at this point in time, and we'll see how it continues. Long may it continue. But yeah, as I said, if you're interested in signing up to Bitpetite, have a look in the description down below. I will leave a link there for you guys to have a look at. But other than that, guys, it is my wrap up for today. I know I've been rattling on for a bit. It's almost a half an hour for this video, so I do apologize about that. I will try and keep the next one shorter and not have to talk about regulatory issues and bore everyone to death. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and hope to see you on my next video. As always, if you like the video, press the like button down below, and if you like videos like this and other videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.